In the beginning, confidence is at an all-time low. Doubt is at an all-time high. Only until you see evidence that you are actually moving in the right direction and seeing improvement in your life, then doubt starts to come down and confidence starts to go up. How's it going, guys? My name is Miguel from CFS Recovery. I run this YouTube channel which is dedicated to helping people recover from chronic fatigue syndrome after having gone through the tough journey myself for about 4.5 years. I went from being a personal trainer, very active, very fit lifestyle, to being completely bedridden, having to live with my grandparents, and then building myself back up to where now I help other people get their lives back. In this video, I want to talk about how your level of confidence in recovery goes up as you gain evidence that what you're doing is working. And this ties into a lot of belief. Well, it's really hard to know in the beginning. And even hearing it from someone like myself, when I tell you that I've been where you are before, I've been in your shoes, I've been hospitalized, I've been in a wheelchair, I've been in a walker, I had my life stripped away from me. Even with me telling you all of those things and telling you exactly how to get out, there's always going to be this voice in your mind saying, I understand it worked for you, but will it work for me? What if I'm different? What if I have a unique case that's a little bit different from yours and what you teach might not work? Well, in reality, the reason you're watching this video right now, the reason you're on this channel is because you've tried all the other options. You've tried working with doctors and specialists and alternative treatments and diets and this and that, and it hasn't been working. And if it has worked, then you wouldn't be watching this right now. So in the beginning of recovery, it's very hard to gain traction. The beginning part is the hardest. And I always tell people in the program, the first week on the very first call, I tell people, look, this journey is going to be like trying to start a freight train. When a train starts moving, most of the energy required to have it move from point A to point B, most of the energy is expended in the beginning, just getting the train moving, going from a dead standstill stop to actually gaining momentum. And that's where most of the energy is consumed, because it takes so much more effort to get something moving than it does to keep something going. And it's the exact same thing in recovery. You can be doing all the right things. You could be trying to focus on swatting away the negative thoughts, trying to become indifferent to the symptoms, but it's going to be very difficult. You won't see much progress in the beginning. You won't have that much confidence, and you'll have a lot of doubt in the beginning. And I want you to imagine this picture where in the beginning, confidence is very low in the ideas, in these different recovery strategies and tactics. It's a lot lower than the doubt that you have, which the doubt will be sky high, because up to this point, everything you've tried hasn't worked, or hasn't worked as well as you thought it would or hoped it would. I'm sure you paid a lot of money into different products or services, naturopaths, whatever, for special testing that led to nowhere. Or I wouldn't say nowhere, but it didn't lead to you getting any better. So in the beginning, confidence is at an all-time low, doubt is at an all-time high, and only until you see evidence that you are actually moving in the right direction and seeing improvement in your life, then doubt starts to come down and confidence starts to go up. And then it reaches this point where confidence grows, doubt comes down, and then there's a certain point where you actually become confident enough in your abilities and your knowledge and what you know and how to apply it, that these 2 points level out. And then it switches, because your confidence starts to climb and the doubt gets lower and lower as you get better. But in the beginning of recovery, doubt is at an all-time high. That's why it's so hard for people to wrap their heads around the idea of mindset. Has a lot to do with recovery. You just have to stop fearing the symptoms. And it's really hard because, of course, the doubt is at an all-time high. But as you start to see evidence and proof that these ideas work, as you start to have baby steps towards recovery, towards having a little bit more energy, a little bit less symptoms on this day, a little bit better sleep quality, a little bit more ability to try different foods, as you have more of that, that increases your confidence and lowers your doubt. It never just happens like this, right? It never happens in the program where I teach everybody all these things and then they go, oh, okay, that makes sense. I no longer feel the symptoms. No, you cannot just think your way through recovery. You actually have to do, and you have to put in the work, and you have to go into the trenches and have these adjustment periods and have the symptoms. And that's where the magic actually happens. See, most people try to avoid symptoms as much as they can, because they think that's how it's done. They think symptoms are all bad. We have to avoid them at all costs. And so they stay stuck and they stay running in this hamster wheel where as soon as they feel a little bit of the symptoms, it's, oh, no way, we're not going there. So they retreat. And then their mind goes into this fear mode and they think they did something wrong. But symptoms are a very normal thing. In fact, you cannot recover without feeling symptoms. So once you learn how to handle those symptoms and rewire the way your brain responds to those symptoms, so instead of having fear, panic, doubt, worry, all of those negative emotions, you become indifferent to them and you see them as on the way, not in the way. And the more you can do that, the more you gain confidence in your recovery, because there's this concept that we talk about in Recovery Jumpstart, that's progress cycles, right? Recovery is made up of multiple dozen progress cycles. It's never just this one thing where you learn how to recover, you learn about the symptoms, and then you overcome them and they never come back. No, it's a constant cycle where you feel okay, you do more things, you feel symptoms, and you handle those symptoms properly, you pull back, take a break, let your body adapt, and then your body unlocks this new level of energy and less symptoms, right? That's one cycle, and there's multiple dozen cycles in recovery, and people don't realize that. So as you complete more progress cycles, as you go into an adjustment period and you come out of it and you survive and you feel a little bit better after, you gain a little bit more confidence and you have less doubt because you see the evidence that this is working, that I'm not just saying all this stuff and people aren't just saying this stuff and it's not this magical thing that just all of a sudden your brain just lets you run free and you don't have any more symptoms. It doesn't work like that. It happens over time, and that's why it's really hard to gain traction in the beginning. In the beginning, when you first start trying to implement everything I teach on this channel, because the doubt is going to be there. The trick is to set realistic expectations. Long term, we can think big. We can have these visions of all this traveling we want to do, all these things we want to do, all the fun we want to have. But in the moment, day to day and week to week, we need to stay laser focused on rewiring our response to, the symptoms and controlling our emotions, making sure we're not getting too excited or too down on ourselves. We want to stay as level as possible. But as you do that, you start to feel better, you gain more confidence in recovery, and you have less doubt. So in the beginning, I don't know where you are exactly right now, but chances are your doubt is much higher than your confidence that you can recover. Like much higher, as in maybe 50 times higher. What we want to do is over time start to shift those, and you only do that through actually putting in the work, actually following what I teach on this channel, and then you start to recover, right? And the thing is, you can know all the right knowledge. There is no shortage of knowledge in this world, but what there is a shortage of is people who are putting in the work and actually applying it. You could have taken 10 different courses on how the brain works, but as soon as those symptoms come, as soon as the emotions come, I guarantee you a lot of knowledge goes out the window, and we typically revert back to our instincts, which is typically running off of fear. That's our primal brain. We're in fight or flight or freeze mode. Is the fact that in the beginning, you won't have this belief that you can recover. You won't have this unwavering belief that, oh yes, 100% I'm gonna get better and I know it. You might have a small part of you, but there's gonna be lots and lots of doubt, especially during the adjustment period. So don't be surprised when that happens, and don't get down on yourself if you have days where there is more doubt and you do start questioning if you're gonna get better. That's completely normal. But what really matters is, are you gonna listen to those voices? Are you gonna dwell on them? Or are you gonna observe them and then move on and continue doing what you know you need to be doing, which is controlling your emotional response to symptoms, controlling your emotions overall throughout this? Doesn't matter what thoughts come and go. What matters is what you do with them. And most of the time, you don't need to do anything with them. So just focus on the baby steps, focus on the small wins here and there. Focus on day to day versus what you fear happening tomorrow, or what you fear not happening tomorrow. I need to go to this doctor's appointment, I don't think I can make it. Or I need to go to this doctor's appointment, I'm gonna have to over push myself. So a lot of the emotions we have, it's fear based on what is going to happen or what will not happen, either in the future or in the past. Anytime we're not in the moment, we're fearing different things. My best advice for you is to try to stay in your 3-foot world. And I filmed another video up here that you can watch. It's one of the first videos on my channel. It's about how not to overthink. And it's by staying in your 3-foot world. Navy SEALs, that's how they train. It's like they stay in their 3-foot world. Anything outside of that does not matter. anything outside of that. I hope you got some value out of this video. I do want to introduce something new to this channel and to these videos. I want to highlight the best subscriber comments that I read down below, because I look at all the comments, I respond to all of them. The way I choose them, it's something that's insightful that we can all learn from and that maybe I can even expand on. So definitely start commenting down below some deep thoughts you have, some realizations, something you find that's helping, or how the topic of the video actually relates to your situation and what you're going to do with it, or things that you've applied in the past and how it's helped you. So this video's subscriber highlight is from Doris. If you're watching this, what's up? And she writes, I realized that it's not the food itself, but the circumstances. So this is from one of my previous videos, how to fix IBS, digestion problems, and food sensitivities with CFS. I realized that it's not the food itself, but the circumstances, like the time when I eat. I can eat A and react with terrible bloating at midday and eat A again in the evening. So I guess, again, it's a question of my nervous system and which state it is in. Very true. You can have the same exact food at 2 different times of the day and have 2 different reactions. Very normal. I just thought that was really interesting because she was actually able to recognize how this was showing up in her life and specifically her diet. So I thought that was really cool. I'm going to be doing more of these. Every single video, I'm going to do a subscriber highlight comment. So make sure to comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, if you got some value out of it, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell, because sometimes YouTube doesn't notify you that a new video went live. If you don't want to miss any of my content, and I post literally every single day with some reminders of mindset things, of things to do, things to focus on. If you don't want to miss any of this content, and make sure you're notified when any of this valuable knowledge is released, then make sure to hit that notification bell. And always remember, you are just one mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. I'll see you in the next video.